Hello, friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit. It is Monday, April 3rd, 2023. It is a beautiful day here in the Motor City. I am Jer Stays, and joining me is
Fletcher Sharpe.
And I'm Randy Walker.
Good to talk to you.
Glad to be back as always.
Yeah, it's good to be on another Daily Detroit episode.
So, Randy, over the weekend, we were visiting the Chicken Guy. There was a lot of hype about this restaurant, this fast casual place coming to Metro Detroit, Livonia specifically.
Yeah, this is Guy Fieri's chicken tender and fancy sauce concept.
One thing that was kind of stunning to me was the huge lines. The dining room was packed. The car line, the wraparound, it reminds me of a couple other chicken restaurants I've seen where there is a line around the building or down the road and all this other stuff. I was like, oh, okay, Metro Detroit is going to show out for Guy Fieri.
I was not expecting this place to have a drive-through window. That's probably on me for just not
It's
realizing
Livonia,
what it
sir.
is. Yeah, exactly.
Everything has a drive-in window in Livonia. Does anyone walk in Livonia? Half the place doesn't have a sidewalk.
That's true.
First impressions when you came up. I mean, we went together, so friends of the podcast know. We went on Sunday to check it out. Now, we'll caveat all of this with they just opened. So we're being a little bit more considerate of that. But first impressions.
I like the concept. I like the decor. The theme was great. I like the idea of the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the execution was a little lacking, I think.
Now, we got a variety of things. We spent more than $50 at Chicken Guy.
So much food. Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. So we got chicken tenders, we got pickle chips, we got fries, we got vanilla shake, we got
Mac and cheese. We got a sandwich with chicken tenders on it.
I feel like this is almost the Taco Bell of chicken tenders
Yeah.
because everything's just rearranged.
Yeah, you get the tenders, or you get a sandwich that is made with tenders as the protein, or you get a salad topped with tenders. So you get tenders. Anything you want as long as it's tenders.
The Henry Ford.
Exactly.
The Model T of chicken joints. I think where I want to start is chronologically. Let's start with what we tried first and kind of work our way through. For me, it was the pickle chips, and this is where I started to learn that this is truly all about the sauce, right? Because the pickle chip for me, I like fried pickles. I'm a big fried pickle fan. They weren't, to me, the base. Like the base was a little bit over crunchy. I mean, the spice was nice, whatever, but it really sung when paired with the sauce. And that was the theme of the entire experience, that it was, for me anyway, like an okay thing. And then when you did the sauce, then it started to really go.
Yeah, for sure. My summary of this restaurant is mediocre fast food, elevated by excellent sauces.
When you get into this place, there's actually an anthropomorphic chicken, which looks a lot like Guy Fieri. And I realized, are we eating Guy Fieri? And if we are, is this like the body of Chicken Guy and then the sauces are the blood of Chicken Guy?
Exactly. If you want to compare it to religion, why not?
The fries. You're very particular about your fries.
The fries were crunchy on the outside and they were seasoned. That's all I ask for in a French fry. Surprisingly hard to find. They delivered on the French fries.
Seasoning was good, actually.
Yeah, it was not just salt. It was a seasoning blend, so it elevated the fries a little bit as well.
Mac and cheese. Different take on it, I think.
It was very creamy. Great sauce consistency. The noodles were a good doneness. They weren't soft and mushy. They had a little bit of chew to them still.
I don't know the name of the noodle. It was like the longer, twisty kind. It wasn't the elbow.
I believe they were cavatappi.
Okay.
And then they had a tangy, nutty sauce. So the blend of cheeses used to make that sauce is probably what contributed to that the most. They might have added some additional seasoning as well to amp up the flavor. But overall, I liked it. It was better than your box mac and cheese dinner.
Now, what about the chicken sandwich? We split that in half. First thing I noticed off the bat, it tasted like more of a new pickle as opposed to like a dill or something like that.
I was not impressed with the bread. It was very dry and didn't have a lot of flavor.
Here's the thing, though. Do you like that kind of chicken sandwich? Because I feel like there's two kinds of camps here where are you into that very more basic chicken sandwich that you kind of crave for with like kind of the brining, or are you not?
I enjoy Popeye's chicken sandwich. I enjoy Wendy's chicken sandwich. Burger King had a good one for a while. So I do enjoy the chicken sandwich, but it has to be more than the sum of its parts.
And so you kind of feel like if you're going to get the chicken sandwich, just get the tenders.
Yeah, I would skip a sandwich, or at least the sandwich we got. Some of the other sandwiches on the menu had different toppings that aren't available or aren't as part of the dipping sauce. So if you want corn or bacon on your sandwich, try one of those. But I feel that you're really should just go there for the tenders and especially the sauces.
I feel like, again, the star of the show was the sauces. We tried a bunch of them.
Yeah, we had 6 sauces total. The tenders were just a way to get the sauce into my mouth. I felt like they were no better than grocery store freezer section chicken tenders that you heat up in your toaster oven.
Frankly, I would buy bottles of that
I would buy
sauce.
bottles of those sauces too. The ranch was probably my favorite.
It was a buttermilk
It was
ranch,
buttermilk
right?
ranch.
Very herbaceous.
Lots of dill, tasted like onion powder.
Mm-hmm.
Very chunky.
Mm-hmm. Now, the sweet and sour threw me for a loop.
It had a little bit of a kick to it that you wouldn't have expected from the name. It was more like a sweet chili sauce than a sweet and sour sauce.
Yeah, if you're used to the sweet and sour at Mickey D's, this is not only sweeter, but I think also spicier.
Exactly.
Yeah. The donkey sauce is what he's known for. Now, to give people a little bit of context, I've actually been, if you've listened to the show for a while, I went to downtown Flavortown and enjoyed all of that. It is in Seaverville, Tennessee, the home and birthplace of Dolly Parton. It was actually quite a fun experience, and their donkey sauce is everywhere because it's Guy Fieri, right? Everything's got donkey sauce. I think when I opened the door, donkey sauce dumped down on my head.
It was a solid sauce. It tastes like something you would get if you just went to your fridge and mixed up a few things, but it's mayonnaise based. It's got Worcestershire, lemon, roasted garlic. Solid sauce. Not my favorite, but I would definitely eat donkey sauce again.
And we both have watched Guy Fieri for a number of years on TV, right? Like, because I know you watch.
I watched him when he was competing on Next Food Network Star, and then his show that came out of that, Guy's Big Bite. I watched Guy's Grocery Games. I watched Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. I watched Tournament of Champions. I watched Guy's Ranch Kitchen. I watch it all. I even watched the series, and I can't remember what it's called, that actually was looking to find an executive to help run Chicken Guy.
Wow.
So I've watched a lot of Guy.
Are you a Guy fan?
I like Guy.
Okay.
Sometimes I think Food Network does a little too much Guy.
I feel like there are days where it's like 20 hours of Guy Fieri.
Exactly.
A standout sauce for me, too, was the curry mayo.
That was the one that I ordered, and I don't think I liked it as much as you did.
Yeah. Some of the sauces did better with the fries than the tenders.
Yeah, when compared with the tenders, this sauce tasted a little salty to me, but with the fries, it was fine. The Parmesan garlic sauce was solid as well. A lot of times you go to wing restaurants and you get Parmesan garlic wings, and they just toss a wing in powdered Parmesan cheese and garlic powder. I like a garlic Parmesan sauce.
The whole time I was sitting there, and I'm not against tenders. I like the tenders a bit more than you did, but I kept wanting wings. The whole time I was there, I was like, I need to order wings, and there's no wings to be had.
These sauces would be phenomenal on crispy fried wings.
Yes, I feel like that needs to be their next step. It doesn't always need to be tenders.
These are also breaded tenders. If you're a person who prefers battered tenders, you're going to be missing out on that texture.
What about that brown sugar bourbon barbecue?
Barbecue sauce was fine. It was
a sweeter end barbecue.
Sweet from the brown sugar, a little tangy. Tasted like barbecue sauce to me.
So many sauces, so little time. As far as the experience itself, the service time wasn't bad, especially for opening weekend.
For opening weekend, these times are phenomenal. We went in and ordered, and I feel like we got our food within 20 minutes.
But the car line was so much longer.
I'm so glad we went in.
That's the pro tip. If you're going to go to this place, park in the parking lot, like behind it or right next to it, and then go do inside service because it's going to be, I think, a better experience, especially if the line is long.
The other big miss for this restaurant is that they serve the chicken sandwiches vertically.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole thing.
So the filling kind of slides down in the box. So when you pull out the sandwich, it's lopsided.
I mean, there is a paper there and whatever to like hold the sandwich.
It catches it at the bottom.
It catches,
it doesn't hold it in place.
Because everything serves in vertical boxes. The tenders come in vertical boxes. The sauces come in little containers. Now, I will say that they're generous with the sauces. Like, I actually took some of them home to, like, mix in. So I ended up getting some extra curry mayo and going to mix that in with some chicken and do, like, a chicken salad out of it. So, question, would you go back again?
To Livonia just for Chicken Guy? I would stop at Chicken Guy if it was on my way home or if I was doing something else in Livonia. But I don't feel that this restaurant is a destination draw.
The good news for you is they're planning on opening 20 of these things in Metro Detroit. 20.
Holy cow.
So I think we're going to be covered in chicken, guys. I mean, it's fast casual. Like, that's kind of the design of these places. It's kind of like Chipotle or Burger King or Panera, where you're going to have these everywhere. And I feel like if you're going to judge it in its category, I think it's really solid, and I would go again in its category.
I would like to try a lot more of the sauces. There are 15 sauces in total. We tried 6, so that's over half left to go. I think next time, though, I will definitely try them on the grilled tenders and see how the grilled tenders are.
The other thing I want to ask you, Randy, value for money. For everything we got, we spent about $51.
The prices were great. 3-piece tender was $6.99. That comes with your choice of 2 sauces, and then the prices are up from there. I think it was totally reasonable.
Well, if you've been or you've got questions or thoughts, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you. And engineer Randy Walker, always good to see you and fun to share a meal with you.
Fun to share a meal with you, too.
All right, Fletcher, over to you. We got a couple of things we want to talk about, the Detroit Pistons and, of course, Detroit City FC. Let's start with the Pistons. That record is abysmal. This is just painful to watch. And we were talking before we got on air, and you were talking about how they're in that worst record position. And I Googled it for some more notes, right? And I get an article from Bleacher Report from 2012. Are the Detroit Pistons really the worst team in the NBA? This is so frustrating as a Pistons fan.
They are not doing well right now, but also we kind of expected them to not be doing that well right now. I'm not saying that we expect them to be this bad, but we were kind of hoping that, they would not be great, so that they could get a good draft pick going forward. And they exceeded all expectations in doing that by putting together, a roster that very much shows once Cade got hurt, we're trying to develop some young players and make it look like we're not tanking, even though we kind of are. No disrespect to him, I think he's a nice guy, but Rodney Magruder has never been on a winning NBA team in his career. And that's not like a joke. Like that's just a fact. Every team he goes on is not a good team. Maybe I think he might have played for the Nuggets for a year when they were pretty decent, but he wasn't really a contributor. But aside from that, when he plays on teams majorly, it's because the team is he has a purpose on someone's roster, and it's to help us get a better draft pick. So seeing him still on the roster is all right, I know what you're doing. You're not fooling me at all. I can see what you're doing, just in a very professional way. Them having the worst record does have an upside, although I hate when the NBA's played like this. It puts them in a pretty good chance to get the French freak Victor Wembanyama, who I'm sure if you've been on Facebook or anywhere in ESPN, you've seen them link to him and his team, Metropolitans 92 of the French League. He is 7'2". He shoots like Kevin Durant. He rebounds like Giannis. He dunks on you like a lot of NBA players. I'm a little skeptical because he's playing in France, which is a pretty decent league, but it's not as good as the NBA. It's not as good as, say, Spain. But he's 7'2" and he's 19, and he's by far the best player in his league. Was an MVP last year at 18.
Is the clock running short on Dwayne Casey?
I mean, yeah. At this point, I think they're letting him finish the tank. It'd be kind of unfair to bring in a new coach to then tank a team, because then that goes on his career record. That'd be wrong if someone's like, hey, Jerry, don't you want to come work for ESPN? And then it's by the way, you got to fire these 100 people. Awesome. Now also we're firing you because it says on your CV that all you can do is fire people. That wouldn't be right for you. It wouldn't be right to bring in someone to let them now tank and then be bad. So I think they're going to try to reshuffle the deck, maybe let go in this offseason, maybe give him another year to tank a little bit more.
Ugh, even to say that again though, man, that's just so frustrating.
You know what NBA team in 2008 was really not that good? Really bad, but acquired a few draft picks that kind of turned the whole trajectory of their entire team's organization around. Oklahoma City Thunder. They drafted Jeff Green. They drafted Kevin Durant. They drafted James Harden. They drafted Russell Westbrook, and people expect them to be good in a few years. And then they were good the following year, and then they were a terror in the NBA for a while before they all split up. Do you know who their general manager was at the time? Troy Weaver was the general manager who got Russell Westbrook and helped put that team together. The Pistons have the young pieces that can work together. They've shown that they can work together before Cade got hurt. It wasn't an issue of will these pieces gel? They will gel. They just all need to be healthy. So I think one more young piece. I'm not saying that they're going to go win a championship next year, but I think they'll actually be a playoff contention next year if they get a solid rookie player. Hopefully, Wembanyama. I think Troy Weaver has a plan. I think he does have a plan. Unlike a lot of people within sports in this city, I think he actually has a plan that he's trying to do. So because I've seen him do it before and have it work exponentially well, I'm willing to give him a chance. He molded that team into a team that was about 1 or 2 wins away from an NBA Finals game. It actually was in the NBA Finals against LeBron James's Heat. And unfortunately, they ran up against a guy who was super about, making a point. So had they run up against any other team that year, I think they might have a chance to win. But that one team, no. But they came really close to a second NBA Final, which I know is not, a banner per se. But for a team of young players at that time, like that's a really good way to help you develop and become a better team. So I think he has a plan. I'm not saying that I know his plan entirely, but if it's what I think it is, I'm willing to wait, maybe one more year before I start looking at him like, hey man, where's the magic?
So let's talk Detroit City FC. Another loss for Le Rouge. I mean, there are some bright spots. We've only given up so many goals, not many goals in the last few games, but offensively, it's been kind of a mess. The weather has not been great at Keyworth. What are the pieces here? And just so listeners know, the score was Detroit City FC 0, RGV Toros FC 1. I can't help but think that this offense just hasn't gelled yet, and I don't know what it is, but it just hasn't. There are some very new pieces, and there's some new-ish pieces, and it feels like they just haven't found the click together yet.
It's early in the year, and there are some new faces, so I'm willing to make some adjustments. But the lack of continuity I'm seeing in the field between the players, to me, is alarming. You not putting the ball in the net, that's one thing, sure, but most of the players taking part in this weekend's match have been there for a minute, and I'm not talking about since way before. I'm talking about at least since December on and off. So to see them be as anemic as they are is a little worrisome. They had at least 5 friendlies and a few practices together, and there's video evidence of all of them being together because people were so excited for Jean-Claude Lawson that they slowed down every single frame to identify every single player in the frame to make sure that one was not a former player before they found Sean. So I'm willing to buy it a little bit, it's something, but at the professional level, I can't totally take that as a full reason because there are other teams in the league that also got a bunch of players. Like Charleston got a new head coach and a bunch of players, and they're doing just fine. Loudoun really uprooted their entire team just about, and they're doing just fine. Tampa Bay wasn't really having many issues until Leo Fernandez, destroyed his leg. So obviously now at this point, it's going to be a little bit difficult for them.
Honestly, they're on the playoff bubble, and this is tracking with what a lot of the pundits were saying, which is really frustrating to see.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm going to withhold judgment from Ben Morris because it's literally his first game, professional game. The rest of the friendlies, I won't really count all that against him. He had to go away for a minute to come back. Same with O'Neal Fisher. This was his first appearance. He looked nice in his first appearance.
Oh, I'll say that's a bright spot for sure, without a doubt. Him and Skage are bright spots.
Honestly, once he gets a little more acclimated, I think he should start one of the wings and Reese at the other one. He should be like last year's Declan, except a bit more offensive-minded in his own right and less, for creating. But he can also create.
Well, and I am looking forward to Gold Star because I feel like it could be a way to do a little bit of a reset and get things together, at their expense. But But honestly, I'm more concerned about Louisville City. The Open Cup this year for me, yes, I'm a big fan of the tournament, but I can't feel like this can be a priority for us after Gold Star. And I feel like the priority needs to be on Louisville City, which they're not having the start, they're not having the stellar start, but they're not doing horrible either, and they also have a lot of pieces.
And also, they just lost their last 2 games by a combined 8-0. 3-0 to El Paso, which was surprising, and a 5-0 to Sacramento Republic, which isn't as surprising because, Sacramento Republic is a good team. But 5-0, Louisville's whole thing is their attack. So after their U.S. Open Cup match against Lexington SC, they're going to have some demons they want to exercise. So going into their facility And playing them at home is going to be a lot already. But playing them at home when they're like, for lack of better words, pissed, that's very scary because when they want to turn it on, especially in the East, like they feast. Here's hoping DCFC figures out their issues with Gold Stars in time to be ready for Louisville City because Louisville City will be ready for Detroit. We don't have to question that.
I want to end this conversation with something constructive. One or two things that Detroit City needs to tweak going forward that they could do.
Taking shots. That's really it. Like they need to take shots. They need to get the ball towards the net. And I'm not saying just take, wild shots from midfield, but like if you have a chance, there's a situation in the game that I can think about where a ball got crossed in to counter Ruts. And he was in the middle of the box, near the top, near the middle of the box. And instead of trying to take a shot towards the frame where he was totally squared up towards the net, he crossed it out to Maxey, who crossed it back into the net and ended up being a corner kick, which didn't result in anything. And it's just the small things like that where I understand if you have an angle or something or someone's there, why you might not take the shot. But if you're squared up with the net and you're down 1-0 and it's like the 55th, 60th minute, take the shot. So many things can happen if you put the ball towards the net as opposed to sideways and try to cross it back in, especially when you're in the box. Maybe start taking some shots early. Maybe the aggressiveness that Trevor comes out with in the second half, maybe start being more aggressive at halftime, maybe a few minutes before halftime. Maybe start trying to get the attack going earlier. And those aren't continuity things. It's not like he's not taking a shot because he's not used to his teammates. They wanted to get the ball out outside and back inside. Some situations, it doesn't require that. If teams know you're going to do that, they'll leave you open to take shots because they'll know you're going to try to go to the outside. Again, not from 30, 40 yards out, but if you're running towards the box and someone's open on the wing, but you have a chance to take a shot towards frame, take it. They'll have to understand. If it goes in, you're the hero. If it doesn't go in, next time I got you. You can't really wait, till 40, 45, 50 minutes in the game to take your first shot on frame. That's not how you win games.
All right, well, we will keep an eye on all of it. We will be at Keyworth on Tuesday and hope to see you out there. All right, with that, I am Jer Stays. Thank you so much to our members on Patreon who help keep this going. Patreon.com/dailydetroit. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit. Talk tomorrow.